El Nino is officially back. On June 11th, 2026, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration upgraded its alert from a watch to an advisory, which is the government's way of saying this is no longer a forecast. It's happening. But if you've been anywhere near your feed lately, you've seen the other version of the story, the one with the word super stamped across the thumbnail. The strongest El Nino in 140 years, a climate past the point of no return. And here's the problem with that version. Almost none of it is settled, and some of it isn't science at all. So subscribe and stick with me, because for the next 10 minutes, I'm giving you the El Nino story the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration actually filed, not the one built to scare you into clicking. I'll show you what's confirmed, where the viral videos swap the real numbers for scarier ones, and what a strong El Nino will actually do to your winter. Let's start with what's genuinely on the record. El Nino is one phase of a natural Pacific cycle called the El Nino Southern Oscillation. Normally, trade winds push warm surface water west toward Asia, and cold water rises up along South America to replace it. During El Nino, those winds weaken, the warm water sloshes back east, and that giant pool of heat reshuffles jet streams and rainfall across entire continents. It's not new, and it's not a product of climate change. This cycle has been running for thousands of years. What's driving the current event is happening below the surface. For months, NOAA has tracked a mass of unusually warm water building deep in the western Pacific. Bursts of westerly wind have been shoving that heat eastward in slow pulses called Kelvin waves, and as they surface along South America, they uncork the warmth that defines an El Nino. That's the engine, and right now it's running. Here's the part that's close to certain. NOAA's Climate Prediction Center puts the odds of this El Nino lasting through winter and into early spring of 2027 at about 97%. The Pacific is warm, it's still warming, and it isn't turning around before spring. Now here's where the story splits. The viral videos aren't lying about El Nino existing. They're overselling how strong it's going to get. That word, super, isn't an official NOAA category. NOAA sorts these events as weak, moderate, strong, or very strong, and it measures them with the Oceanic Nino Index, a 3-month average of how far the eastern Pacific has warmed above normal. Scientists do use the phrase super El Nino in the research, but only for the rare monsters that push past 2 degrees Celsius. So the term itself is fair. What's not fair is treating a 2-degree event as a done deal before it is even formed. Because the real figure is a probability, not a promise. As of early July, NOAA's forecasters put the chance of this reaching very strong, that 2-degree mark at around 63%. More likely than not, yes. Inevitable, no. And there's a warning the headlines skip completely. NOAA openly cautions that spring forecasts tend to overshoot El Nino's strength, and that even a strong event doesn't guarantee strong impacts everywhere. The single most watched video on this topic was filmed back when the Pacific was still neutral. It reached for European model runs, showing 3-degree anomalies, while quietly admitting that NOAA itself was sitting at 37%. It found the scariest number in the room and put it on the thumbnail. To see why the honesty matters, look at the events this one keeps getting compared to. In the modern record, NOAA counts 3 true heavyweights: 1982, 1997, and 2015. The last 2 are tied as the strongest ever measured, each peaking near 2.3 degrees on the index. And when El Nino gets that big, the consequences are real and they're global. NOAA's own climate scientists documented the 2015 event, and it lined up with severe drought in Ethiopia, water rationing in Puerto Rico, a record-breaking hurricane season in the Central Pacific, and the largest single-year jump in atmospheric carbon dioxide ever recorded at Mauna Loa. That year became the hottest on record at the time. So the fear isn't invented. A genuine super El Nino is a serious event. The dishonest move is pretending we already know this one will match it. So what does a strong El Nino actually do, based on the pattern NOAA has tracked for decades? The Pacific jet stream tends to slide south, dragging the storm track across the southern United States. That usually means a wetter, stormier winter from California through the Gulf, and milder conditions across much of Canada and the northern states. In the Atlantic, El Nino normally suppresses hurricanes by ramping up the wind shear that tears storms apart, which is why NOAA leaned toward a below normal Atlantic season this year. But even that carries an asterisk in 2026, because the Atlantic itself is running unusually warm, and warm water feeds storms no matter what the Pacific is doing. The two signals are pulling against each other, and the honest answer is that this season could land closer to average than a textbook El Nino would suggest. Further out, the fingerprints get familiar. Drought risk climbs across Australia and Indonesia. Heavy rain returns to the coasts of Peru and Ecuador. Global temperatures usually get a temporary bump of 1/10 to 2/10 of a degree, which is enough to tip an already hot year into record territory. And there's a detail the doom videos almost never mention. Super El Nino winters haven't only brought heat. Research on the 1982, 1997, and 2015 events found each one helped trigger sharp cold snaps across East Asia and parts of Northern Europe through a chain reaction in the polar jet stream. El Nino doesn't just turn up a global thermostat. It rearranges where the heat and the cold end up. There's also a food angle worth watching, minus the panic. Agencies like the World Food Program flag strong El Niños as a stress test for harvests across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, because shifting rain patterns hit rice, wheat, and maize at the same time. That's a genuine risk to track over the coming months. It's not a guaranteed catastrophe, and the specific dollar figures circulating online are estimates stacked on estimates. So here's the honest bottom line. El Nino is here. NOAA made it official on June 11th. It's very likely to strengthen, and there's a real, better than even chance it reaches the very strong tier that earns the super label. If it does, expect a stormy southern winter, a quieter but complicated Atlantic hurricane season, drought in Australia, floods in South America, and another shove toward record global heat. What you should not expect is certainty. Anyone telling you this is guaranteed to be the strongest El Nino in 140 years is selling you a thumbnail, not a forecast. The real story is dramatic enough on its own. NOAA updates this picture every month, and when the next set of numbers lands, I'll break them down right here. Because the goal was never to scare you. It was to tell you what's actually true. I'll see you in the next one.